Hey everybody, and welcome to 10.1. Today, as I'm creating this video tutorial, most of you guys are at home, kind of going through the whole coronavirus, COVID-19 strain right now, and it's got everybody just a little bit on edge. So um, I'm actually hoping you're watching this from the comfort of your home and from the comfort of your pajamas, and you're still doing some learning at home. So today we're going to talk about data displays and stem and leaf plots. Our learning target is I can create and interpret stem and leaf plots. So in this chapter, for chapter 10 for data displays, we're really going to talk about a lot of the different ways to display data. And when we display data, there's different reasons for some of the different types of displays that we create. For a stem and leaf plot, like shown right here, a stem and leaf plot uses digits of data values to organize a data set. Each data value is broken into a stem. So on the left-hand side, here's the stem that has a digit or digits on the left, and a leaf, so digit or digits on the right. A stem and leaf plot shows how data are distributed. So the one other thing that's included in the stem and leaf plot is a key. So this says 2, and then the middle barrier 0 is equal to 20. Okay, so there in this data set there would be a 20, another 20, a 21, 22, 25, and 27. And then it'd move to the 30s, 31, 34, 38. It's just how they have the data organized. So for our first example, we're going to actually make a stem and leaf plot. It says make a stem and leaf plot of the lengths of 12 cell phone calls. All right, you see here listed there are different number of minutes for the cell phone calls. So what I think is probably a good idea to do first is to order our data. And reason being is because sometimes it's really easy to miss a number if you don't order it right away. So 2 is the smallest. 3, just kind of take that approach. I got a 5 and a 6, 10 and 14, and 18 and 23, and I have 2 23s. 30 and a 36, 30, 36, and lastly 55. So I have my data ordered. Again, that's really for organization and just to make sure I don't miss any numbers. Let's just double check to make sure I have 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yes, I do. Okay. My next step would be to choose the stems and the leaves. The data values range from 2 being my smallest to 55 being my greatest. I need to use 10 digits for tens digits for the stems and ones for the leaves. And then I'll make sure that I include a key as well. So the stem always goes on the left, and the leaf goes on the right. Okay. And then it's usually a good idea to title it. Okay, and what are we talking about here? We're talking about the length of cell phone calls. So cell phone call lengths. I probably should have put that above here, but that's all right. Cell phone call lengths for my title. And then I can start on my stem and leaf. So if I were to put 2 on here, notice that for my other numbers, I would have like, for 10, I would have like 1 and 0 for my digits. So for 2, my 2 would need to go over here just because it only has 1 digit, not 2. So my first stem is actually going to be 0, because 0, 2 still represents 2. And then I've got 3, 5, and 6 that are also just have 1 digit to them. My next numbers have some numbers from 10 to 19, so 10, 14, and 18. I've got 23 twice, so I just need to include that twice. I've got 30 and 36. And now we jump from 30 to 50. I'll still include my 4s, my 40s here, but I'll put nothing. I'm not going to put a 0 because that means I'd have a 40 in my data set. I'm just going to leave it blank. And lastly, 5s, I've got 55. Okay. And the one thing it said, I said earlier, don't forget about your key. So I'll include my key as well. Okay. So I'll just pick a number here. I'll say 1 divided by, with that, I actually don't mean divided by, but this is using this bar here, and a 4, that would equal 14. And in this case, we're talking about minutes, right? So that's kind of the basic steps you take when you make a stem and leaf plot. Why don't you go ahead and pause the video now and try this on your own to make a stem and leaf plot of these different hair lengths. Right, so title can be hair length. And then here's my stem on the left and my leaf on the right. And I'm going to go from 0 all the way to, I think the 40s are my biggest number. And then my different numbers, I've got a bunch of 1s. So 1, 2, 3, got a couple 2s, 4, a couple 5s, and a 7. Right, and those are the centimeters. 1 centimeter, that's like a buzz cut, right? That's pretty short. And I got 12 centimeters, and I've got 20, 23, and 27. And I've got 30, 32, 33, 38. And lastly, I've got 40, 44, and 47. Right, including my key. I'll say 1 line 2 is equal to 12. Okay. And in this case, we are talking centimeters. So there you have it. Hopefully you did okay on that. If you have any questions, please let me know. And the next one, it's interpreting a stem and leaf plot. So looking at a stem and leaf plot that's already been made and trying to understand what it's trying to tell us. So it says the stem and leaf plot shows student test scores. A, how many students scored less than 80 points? B, how many students scored at least 90 points? And C, how are the data distributed? Okay, so first one for letter A, how many students scored less than 80 points? All right, so this is 81, so all of these students are above that point. So the students that scored below or less than 80 would be 66, 70, 75, 77, and 78. These 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So how many students scored less than 80 points? That would be 5 students. And these are their test scores. Okay. Letter B says how many students scored at least 90 points. So we're looking for 90 or above. So I've got one. So I got 90. I have 92. I've got 99, and I've got one person scored 100. And you can see here they used a 10 and a 0 to equal 100. So that's a total of 4 students. And lastly, the question says, how are the data distributed? So looking at my test scores here, what can I say about my data? So if I look at the high range, are there many up at the high range? Well, there's a few. If I look at my low range, again, there's a few, but most of the scores are right in the middle. Okay, so you could say that there are few low scores and few high scores. So most are in the middle. So most of the scores are in the middle. And you can tell that pretty easily by just taking a quick glimpse at the stem and leaf plot there. All right. Try another on your own. Please pause now to answer letter A and B. Letter A says, how many students received a B on a test? Okay. So it says, so we're using this from 80 to 89 is a B. So go back up and look and see how many are from 80 to 89. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 9 students who scored a B on their test. How many received a C? Well, a C is from 70 to 79. So how many are from 70 to 79? 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 students. All right. Let's take a peek at our last example, and then there's an on your own that goes with it as well. It says, which statement is not true? Letter A, most of the plants are less than 20 inches tall. Letter B, the median plant height is 11 inches. Letter C, the range is 35. Or letter D, the plant height that occurs most often is 11 inches. Okay. Well, let's take a look at some of these. So see if we can cross them off. Let's take a look at letter C first. It says the range is 35. Well, it's pretty easy to find the range. Take my greatest, 36, and subtract my least, which it looks like is 1. So 36 minus 1 is 35. So is the range of the plant height 35? Yes, it is. So it can't be that one because I'm looking for which statement is not true. Okay. So that is a true statement. Oh, okay, let's jump to letter A. Most of the plants are less than 20 inches tall. Okay, well, here's that cutoff. This would be 17, this would be 22. So are most of them less than 20 inches tall? Yeah, there's only 3 that are taller than 20. So that's also a true statement. I'm looking for the one that's not true. Okay, so let's jump around again. Here I'm looking for median, and here it says the plant height that occurs most often is 11. Well, I could check that one pretty easily. Plant height that occurs most often. Is there any repeaters here? No. 11 does occur twice, and that's the only one that occurs twice. So, yeah, it does occur most often. So that's true. So it's got to be B. Let's look just to double check. The median plant height is 11. Well, let's list our numbers least to greatest. And so I've got 1 and 36 would cancel. 2 and 25. 4 and 22. 5 and 17. 6 and 15. 8 and 11. 9 and 11. So my median is 10. And this says the median is 11. So this is not true. All right. Lastly, pause for the last on your own. Okay, it says you are told that 3 plants are taller than 20 inches. Is the statement true? And explain. Well, taller than 20 would be, so 17 would be smaller. So taller than 20 would be here. So we'd have 22, 25, and 36. So is that true? Yes. From the stem and leaf plot, we can see that there are 3 plants of 22, 25, and 36 inches. All right, that does it for stem and leaf plots. Please let me know if you have any more questions on them. And I'll be back for 10.2 next time.